Hello and welcome back to the Shmuseum, where today we're going to be going in depth on the Clio V6 and exactly what it cost us. Now obviously we've gone quite extreme with this car, with the full respray, the full overhaul and recommission by Scott at SG Motorsport, and that has included lots of various parts and lots of various costs. So today we're going to find out exactly what the total of all of that is, what it could have cost us if we never did the respray and kept it black. And then crucially, Greg from Contemporary Classics, who sourced the car for us, is going to be popping down to give us his valuation on the car now as it stands, and we'll find out, have we lost money by doing this, or have I lost him money by doing what we've done? So without further ado, I guess let's pull this one out so we can walk around it properly, and let's go through everything that's been done. All right, there we go. She's out. We can go the full walk around. And actually, because this is the first time this has been on the Shmuseum channel, I guess some of you guys may not have seen what we've done with the door sill in there. Cool little touch that Scott at SG Motorsport arranged. But yeah, so I guess now this is out, I'm going to go and grab a quick cheat sheet because there is so much to go through on this. And let's break down the numbers. Hello and welcome back to the Shmuseum News at 6. Now, of course, we're joking. I have my cheat sheet here with all of the figures for the Clio V6, which we're now going to be going through. So I guess first and most importantly is the car itself, which we paid £35,000 for. Now, of course, this was a bit of a bargain. The car was unloved, needed a lot of work, and the full recommission process, which we've now done. So that is the first major cost we have. Secondly, associated with that was, of course, the car vertical check. So that was £19.99. We then have, which I'm going to include this cost, it was one that was very unique to us, I appreciate. However, when we did purchase this car, Tim was over in the United States of America. And in order to get the money transferred, that amount of money from overseas was a bit difficult. So we ended up spending quite a bit of time on the phone to the bank, and from America that cost us £174. So we will include that as a cost of the car. We of course then sent it off to Godleman's for the full colour change into acid yellow, which cost us £9,600 including the VAT, £8,000 without. And we will come on to that shortly, as if we were to have kept it black, it wouldn't actually have been that much of a difference. Now, we also had some bits on the interior, such as the steering wheel, the seat belts, and the gear and handbrake gaiter. Those were very kindly donated to us by the guys at Dub Trim, but I will be going through costs shortly for those. We also have the private number plate that we put on it, V6 FTA, linking back to Tim's first ever Renault Clio 1.2. That was a total of £399. We then have, so this is actually a bit of an interesting cost. We then have a cost for a bumper and spoiler. The spoiler you guys have never actually seen. The front bumper was damaged beyond repair, really, although Scott at SG Motorsport does disagree. That required replacement. Unfortunately, there was someone out there that had a mould and was able to reproduce the bumper. Whilst we were at it, he also had a V6 trophy spoiler available, which we wanted to go for. Unfortunately, the fitment wasn't quite where we wanted it, so that one does need to get sent back and refunded. It hasn't as of yet, so far the bumper and spoiler has cost us a total of £659.98. We then have little things. We're now coming onto a lot of little parts which we sourced ourselves just to save some costs. So we have the antenna seal, which would be just a little bit of rubber that goes around the aerial on the roof just to make sure no water goes in there. That was £19, sourced from Europe actually, and brought over by Schmark 150. We then have the auxiliary belt kit for the engine, of course. That was £149.99. Crank pulley, which needed replacing. That was £92.40. New floor mats, which not entirely needed. Again, we will come into that, was £59.74. We then have the oil and oil filter, which were replaced, obviously as part of the service, which was £51.47. The fuel filter was £16.36, and the pollen filter was £22.82. So those are the basic service items. It then also required a upper engine mount, which was £48. And that is the last of our spend on the car. As a huge thank you to all of our partners, the rest of these components were donated to the project. So we have the Quicksilver exhaust, the Michelin Pilot Sport 5 tyres, the Pure Motorsport top mount and bump steer kit. We have the timing belt kit, battery and boot struts, which were supplied by Paul at carspares.co.uk. We have the TTV lightweight flywheel, as well as the refurbished Black Diamond clutch. We have various bushes and engine mounts from Powerflex, supplied by the Performance Company. We have the KW V3 coilover kit, which has absolutely transformed the car. We also have Goodrich braided hoses, of course, the limited slip differential from Quaife, and the ABS reluctor rings that were put on there as well. So all of those were donated to this project. Okay, so then we have the labour and aforementioned parts from Scott ASG Motorsport, which come to £5,765.86. Now, for those of you mathematicians out there, you've probably worked out what that means already. For those of you who are like me, what that means is we have a total outlay on the Clio V6 as it currently stands of £52,000, £486.61. That is what this project has cost. You're probably asking, what if we hadn't done everything? Now, I've got a couple of different columns here, and in the second column, we have what it could have cost us had we have left it black. Now, the respray at that point would have been £7,200 compared to £9,600. As I said, there was so much paintwork needed on this car anyway, it was almost in need of a full respray. So the additional cost to go for the full colour change, it was a no-brainer, really and truly. We also have the private number plate, which of course is not necessary. It could have happily stayed on RY04. That was obviously £399. And then finally, the floor mats. Pretty much the only thing in the list of things that we bought that I could say weren't necessary or didn't need replacing, which again, they were £59.74. So if we take those out, all of those, what we then end up with is a total figure of £50,239.87. So it's about a saving of £2,200, and the car still would have been in black. And I could be wrong, and a lot of people would probably say that respraying the car actually harms the value. I think given the nature of what it is, and given the rarity of this colour, and the full job that's been done on it, to be honest, I'm not too sure it's going to harm the value, but very shortly, obviously, Greg from Contemporary will be turning up, and we'll find out how right or wrong I am. I also have another column, which we're going to briefly run through, and this is, had we have paid for absolutely every single part that has gone on this car, if we didn't have the sponsors and the partners that we do that have helped us build this, such as Quaife with the LSD, KW with the suspension, reluctor rings with the ABS rings, etc., where would we now be? So I'm now going to run through the individual costs on all of those. So we've got the Quicksilver exhaust, which comes in at £828. We have the Michelin Pilot Sport 5 tyres, which are amazing and come in at £583.68. We then have the Pure Motorsport top mounts, which were fitted, which are £186, and the bump steer kit, which is £108. They also have the timing belt kit, which came in at £300. The boot struts were £50.98, and the flywheel was £356.25. The clutch, £205. The various engine mounts and bushes from Powerflex came in at a total of £431.22. The KW coilovers were £2,139. The braided hoses from Goodrich were £80. The limited slip differential comes in at £1,181.40. And the ABS rings finally were £84.60. So what that means is the car would stand us in £59,919.72. Now obviously there's quite a few variables in cost there, ranging anywhere from £50,000 to nearly 60. So I'm going to be very curious to see what Greg at Contemporary Classics, firstly, has what he thinks of the car when he comes and sees it, but secondly, what he's going to put the value at, because as we know, it does owe us £52,486. We'll call it £52,500 to round off. I don't quite know where the values of these are going to be. Obviously, they're going absolutely mental. There's been a few of these that have gone in excess of £100,000 now. So the market for these cars is a little bit all over the place, depending on mileage, age, condition. But I really do think we've brought this one into a really good standard. So I guess we should wait for Greg to turn up and see exactly what he thinks of it. Now that that's over, I'm really sorry that was quite boring. I feel like Shmee 150, but then it sounds like I'm calling him boring. I'm not trying to do that at all, but just the whole sat at the desk going through figures thing, it's quite a Shmee thing to do. But obviously, he's currently away on the USA tour, so you've been stuck with me on this one. But I think, personally, we're probably a couple of £1,000 over. I mean, we're at 52.5, right, Brad? I expected us to be in maybe 49.50. So I think we're a little bit over where I would have expected it to be. But equally, there was plenty of stuff that Scott at SG Motorsport said could be a problem from the beginning, you know, with seas, bushes, things like that. And ultimately, the cost could increase. And well, given the neglect that this car had suffered, that unfortunately was the case. So we did spend a little bit more than I originally anticipated. But I don't think we've done too bad. Brad, what are your thoughts? So
we've obviously been trying to put a price on what we think the car would cost in total.
Yeah.
And I've never really managed to get a number. Obviously, the market at the moment is a bit up and down. This
is kind of what I was just saying.
Things are changing, but I don't really have a price for it. I think if we can come out even, then great.
Yeah. I mean, I know Tim said in his collection video on the Shmee 150 channel that he hopes and thinks we will be up. And I think we're going to be touch and go, if we're completely honest. I think maybe this is going to come in maybe £53,000. If I'm completely honest, I think we're pretty much breaking even at this moment in time. However, I don't personally see that as a massive issue because these cars are only going one way in value. And having spoken to Greg recently, which I'm sure he'll run through when he gets here, the market for these cars has softened a little bit lately. For example, he was talking to me about one that he made an offer on, that 2 weeks later, that offer didn't really make sense anymore because of the way the market had gone with these cars. So, yeah, I'm very keen to see what he thinks. I guess we'll see you guys shortly when he arrives, and let's find out exactly what this is worth. Okay, so it's now time. We are joined by Greg from Contemporary Classics, who, well, you sourced this car for us in the very beginning.
It looks very different now, doesn't it?
It does.
Wow.
It does. When we saw it, it was in a garage, quite unloved, if we're being completely honest, had been for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, lots of bits hanging off it and broken, and so...
I mean, broken fog lights, every single panel needed paintwork.
Yeah.
And
so much so that you just changed the colour.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, that's obviously what we've discussed in this video. But yeah, we decided acid yellow, why not? So it's now one of, we believe, 7, because there was 8 factory cars, 2 we know have written off.
Correct.
So
Correct.
One of 7 acid yellow Clio V6s left.
Yeah, a very impressive looking thing.
So you've had a little look around it, and you're quite happy with what we've done, I think it's fair to say?
I'm very impressed with it. I think, obviously, the colour is brilliant, but the subtle things you've done, you know, the brakes, the seat belts, just those little bits visually, and then obviously mechanically, you've changed all the right stuff. You've changed the stuff that it was letting it down a bit.
Yeah, I think so. And well, speaking of that, you've gone through a number of these cars.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that you're probably one of the most prominent Clio V6 dealers around. I think you should take this a drive and let us know what you think of those mechanical changes and see what you think it compares to a stock one.
100%. I can't wait to get in it.
We're going to hit the road, and obviously you're going to drive.
Yeah.
But I do want you to be at the back when it starts up, because the Quicksilver exhaust combined with the lightweight flywheel makes for a really lovely start-up
Let's
sound.
hear some noise.
We want to capture your reaction of this one. It's a good noise, isn't it?
It's deep, it's girthy.
Yeah, and that zing on start up the flywheel, it's just, I don't think that will ever get boring, but yeah, let's get it out
really,
on the road.
it changes what the car is, right?
Yeah.
Because the standard one's just so like vanilla and just very safe and somber.
Yep.
This is like bang in your face.
But and again, this isn't the loudest option they have from Quicksilver, so it's not too bad when you're on the road. But yeah, let's get out and let's find out what Greg thinks. So we're now out in the Clio V6. V6. Greg is at the wheel. What's your first thoughts?
I mean,
sounds good, doesn't it?
it's just, for me, the two things that really jump out straight away.
Yep.
Flywheel.
Yep.
And how responsive, relative to the stand of the car, just how much more it wants to pick up and go.
Yeah.
And then the second bit is the suspension. Just how pliable it is. I mean, we're going over some fairly rolly stuff now.
Yeah, fortunately we do have some pretty bad roads around by us, and I think it just shows up how good the suspension on this is.
100%. And everything just feels so focused, and it's changed it much more from just a touring setup to something that wants to go out there and charge around and have some fun again.
Yeah, which is exactly what I said. It just brings a smile to your face.
Oh, big time.
And I think you were just saying it's almost got a bit of that old school Porsche feel.
Yeah, like air-cooled, just tingle to it.
Yeah. And that's the thing, the sensations that come through the wheel, it's just amazing. You just don't want to stop driving.
The problem is now I want one. For me, the standard car is obsolete.
Yeah.
This is the future.
Yeah. And I think that's what we tried to do with this, really, was bring it into just OEM plus.
Yes.
Just the way it should have been or could have been from the factory.
Yeah. Renault should be taking some notes right now.
Yeah.
Because what you guys have created is something very exciting.
All right, so we're back. Obviously, you gave us a few thoughts whilst you were behind the wheel.
I mean, wow.
Now you've had time to kind of process it all. What are your thoughts?
I think, for me, as I kind of mentioned when we were driving out, the flywheel really just felt, the engine was so much freer, and
Yeah.
it just wanted to rev. That was a really, really pleasant surprise. And then obviously the KW it's so pliable, isn't it? We were going over some undulating roads,
Yeah.
and it just absorbed them all so beautifully.
And again, I know those roads in, well, all of these, and
Yeah.
nothing rides it like this does.
Yeah.
Like, nothing at all.
But it just doesn't feel like a 50,000 mile, 20-year-old car anymore, close to 20. It feels like a brand new car.
It does. It's very tight, and yeah, I think Scott at SG Motorsport, along with all of our partners, we have created something special.
Yeah.
But I guess the key moment that everybody behind there is waiting for is now they know what we've spent on it. What's it worth? Have we lost money?
It's a very, very good question. So I think when a lot of people do projects like this,
Yeah.
they always think, best case, I might break even.
Yes.
Worst case, I probably lost some money, because the going rule is you never get back what you put in.
Yeah.
That's like the mindset. I think with this, the purists probably will still go, ooh, it started off as a black car, it's now an acid yellow car.
Yeah. It is resprayed. It's not factory paint.
Correct. But I actually think it has huge appeal from other angles now.
Okay.
The actual performance of it is incredible. Visually, it looks like a brand new car. If we had this in the showroom tomorrow, even given the market's a bit funny at the moment, given what's going on in the world, I would think £52,500 to £55,000 is where we retail this car.
Okay. Well,
I hope that's the figure, a good figure to hear. But if we had it in, that's where we'd be.
that's certainly not a bad figure. And again, I'm sure you guys have managed to work out what that means already, but we will run through everything again in just a moment. But okay, I have to ask the question, because part of what I've run through on the figures is what it would have cost us if we'd have left it black. Because actually there was so much paintwork needed to the car, it wasn't that much more to do the full colour change.
Sure.
But had we have left it black in its original colour, what do you think you'd be retailing it at?
I think if it was just a nice 50,000 mile black car
With everything
with all
you've
the
done,
performance enhancements, I would put it 45 to 47.5.
Oh wow, okay.
So you're £7,500 to £10,000 better off.
Okay.
And I think the colour is a huge part of that, because it's so special and synonymous with this car, and it looks absolutely brilliant.
Well, I think that's really, really interesting, because again, we will go through it fully in a minute, but the difference between black and acid yellow was basically a couple of grand.
Interesting.
So the fact that we've spent an extra couple of grand, but then brought back 7 to 10, I think that's pretty good.
Well done, you guys.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, Greg, huge thank you for coming by. Thank you very much for taking her out as well, because obviously we only have this because of you, and it's lovely that you've been able to get it out on the road.
As I keep saying, you guys have smashed this one. It drives beautifully, so hats off.
Amazing, thank you very much. Right, let's go for a roundup. All right, there we go. That was a lot to take in, but Greg has now left. I don't want to be too like, but we're pretty much where I thought we would be. 52.5 to 55,000 pounds, which means we would ultimately get the money back, or maybe make a little bit on top.
Yeah, you had a pretty good guess.
I think it was quite good, yeah. I think it was quite good. So I don't really know what to say now, but I think overall that's a fantastic result. The key thing is, if we were to put this up for sale tomorrow, which, knowing the way everything's going in here with Tim, E500,
Yep.
You never know. But if we were to put it up, there's not a loss.
No,
There's not a loss.
That's a pretty key thing for undertaking a big project like this for us.
Yeah, and I think the most interesting thing for me actually was Greg's opinion on the fact that it's now been resprayed, and if it wasn't, it would actually be worth a considerable amount less, which
Yeah.
I'm sure every single person out there, me included, to be honest, would have said respraying it arms the value, leaving it in black, leaving it in the original factory colour is where the value is going to be. That's where you're going to get the most for it, and it transpires that just isn't the case, which I'm very shocked about, but obviously very pleased, as I'm sure you would imagine.
Yeah, and luckily, I don't believe Tim is planning on selling it just quite yet, because we do have a few more plans for the car coming up. I know we teased it in the last video, but we do have some exciting stuff happening soon with this, so stay tuned and they will be coming very shortly.
Speaking of which, I wonder how much power this is making.
Me too. Maybe
I wonder if there's a way to find that out. I wonder if there's a machine you can put it on and...
I think they call them dynos.
Huh.
But if only we knew someone that had a dyno and could...
Well, on that note, hopefully you guys have enjoyed running through the costs of the Clio V6, learning just where we are with it all, and I guess until next time.